Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Philosophy. My name is Mr. McLaughlin, but I'll go by Mr. M, and I want to welcome you into the class. I thought it'd be good for you to be able to put a face and a voice to the name and to the words that we're going to be communicating with. And that's also the reason why your first activity is going to be to update your profile picture, to give us a picture of yourself so that we have some sort of image of who you are that's a little bit better than sort of like an abstract avatar or even just a blank avatar altogether. One of the downsides to having a course which should be taught in a face-to-face manner with open communication, to have that course online is we lose something. And so we'll try to make the best of it, and I'm hoping that you're going to be happy you took this as one of your electives and that you'll enjoy the next semester in my class. So what is this course going to be about? We're looking at 4 units and a culminating activity and probably some sort of final exam, but I haven't fully decided what that 30% is going to be, that breakdown of the term worth 70 and the final 30%. I do know that it probably won't be just an exam. There'll probably be some sort of project that goes along with it, but I'll keep you posted on that. What I can tell you is that there are going to be 4 units in the course, and the first one is on metaphysics, which are the first principles of philosophy and the basic principles, I guess, of life. Things like, for example, being. Descartes, I think, therefore I am. I like to challenge students sometimes by asking them to prove their existence to me, which is kind of a fun task when you start thinking about how could you go about proving to somebody else that you actually exist. We take something like that for granted, but when you really think about it, how do you know that anything around you actually exists? Being and knowing and identity, some just basic ideas that generate a lot of, I think, thinking and discussion is what the first unit is about. Second unit is epistemology, which has to do with the separation of justified beliefs from empty and vacuous opinions. And anybody who's been in an argument with somebody who is ignorant knows that there is a very sharp distinction between a belief that's justified and a belief that seemingly comes out of nowhere. Well, I shouldn't say where that belief probably comes from, but it comes from somewhere. Sometimes people speak out of this part of their body. We're going to be looking at the theory of knowledge, and also one cool part of that unit is looking at how you've studied knowledge in terms of subjects. And sometimes we lose sight of the fact that those subjects are artificial, and actually knowledge spans subjects and overlaps, and that's kind of an interesting part of that unit. Unit number 3 is on ethics, which has to do with looking at what is and isn't good, what is and isn't moral, which is kind of a fun unit because you can get such very sharp differences on a particular topic. Like, for example, when the Titanic was sinking and they had lifeboats, but not enough lifeboats for everybody, who do you choose to go into the lifeboats? What is the moral, ethical choice? Well, the gut reaction is women and children should go first. But is that actually the best way to go about things? I'm not saying that it's not, but I am saying that most of us probably have never even questioned that choice because it's just maybe tradition or cultural. But to make a decision based on like cultural beliefs or tradition without actually thinking about it, that decision, whatever it is, can't be ethical because you haven't thought it through. And then the final unit is sort of like a survey unit. We're going to look at logic, we're going to look at aesthetics, which is the principles of what is beautiful, and also looking at some political and social philosophy. So we'll get into the realm of politics, which in the age of Donald Trump and the American election of 2017 should generate a lively discussion. I guess you guys could probably want to know about the format of the course. One thing I can tell you is I'm going to be posting at least 1 video a week, probably on the first or the last day of the week, and if I get really ambitious, I'm going to try to post 2 a week. I think that it makes sense to have one at the end of the week for me to go over some of the things that we've covered, maybe answer for everybody questions that I got from specific people about content. But I think that I'd also like to have a video at the beginning maybe as well to give you a preview, but we'll see how that goes. I do promise though, there'll be at least one video update per week. There's going to be 4 units. Expect to work 1 to 2 days on each lesson. There's a lot of content here. I've been looking at what's here, and there's a lot to cover, so expect to work hard. For anybody who took this course because you thought it was going to be easy, it won't be easy. To give you a sense of sort of what I would be expecting, I taught e-learning the last 2 semesters, I guess. I taught it in the summer and then I taught it in semester 1. In both cases, I ended up with far fewer students than who began. And the people aren't dropping out because the work is too hard. The people dropped out because they, I think, didn't expect to work at all. So be aware that I do expect you to be working like 4U students. Also know that everything that you do in the course as far as assignments go is going to be evaluated. So it's not going to be like there's lesson work and sort of like busy work assignments and then it all leads up to a project at the end of the unit. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to be evaluating by rubric all of the work that I ask you to submit. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I think that that gives me just as good of a picture of where your skills are at. It also breaks things up so that you don't end up with as many big summatives and as 4U students. I know that you'll have heavy course loads, but also I think that it's going to give you more reason to do well on the assignments that I give you. I could tell, looking at the submissions, some of the submissions in the orientation course, I know that a lot of you are just going through the motions, and actually I have students who are at my school outright told me that, you know, they spent 40 minutes on, you know, something that should have taken like a day or 2 days. That's okay for the orientation course because I just wanted to see that you could actually submit things to a Dropbox, you could post things in a discussion forum, you could answer questions on a quiz, and you can navigate through D2L. But for the actual course, I do expect a higher quality of work from you. So here's my promise that I'm going to make. I'm not going to assign you any useless assignments. I'm not going to make you do any work for the sake of doing work. So the work that I give you is going to be meaningful. You'll develop skills, both thinking skills and writing skills and reading skills by doing those assignments. But I do require that you're going to work hard on them. So there'll be, like, I think, fewer things to do than in a normal e-learning course, but I do expect that the work that comes in is going to be of higher quality as a result, including the discussions. Now, this is really important for me. The one thing that I think I would miss the most in any 4U course is the level of discussion that you get in a 4U classroom. So I expect and am requiring you to participate in the discussions, not passively, but actively. So there was an assignment on you know, how do you become a good digital citizen, which I don't know. It seemed like I got like a regurgitation of what was in the course content there. I think what's the most important, and I tried to broach this topic by replying to a couple of posts there, is that we should be free to express educated, intelligent opinions. And not just free to, but we should feel almost like a duty to do so, because really philosophy and like the love of knowledge is what our culture and civilization is built on. And we need people to graduate from high schools who love to think. The world needs people who love to think. And so I want people to get involved in the discussions, and I do want those discussions to get tense at times. You shouldn't worry about offending other people if you are saying intelligent things and you are like focused on ideas. A good idea needs to be put to the test. if it can't stand up to the test, it shouldn't remain in our set of ideas. It should be eliminated, and we should move on as a civilization. We should evolve. So, and I know that it's a bit challenging because you sometimes worry, you know, am I going to hurt somebody's feelings by disagreeing with them? I think you hurt a person much more by agreeing with something that's absurd or questionable than by disagreeing with it and putting that idea to the test. And so I want a lively discussion. I want you to feel free to say what you mean and say what you feel. No, let me change that. Not so much like what you feel, but like what you think. The discussion should be intellectual, not emotional. It should be in the realm of ideas, not in the realm of emotion and knee-jerk responses. And it's important that you specifically participate. And I'm speaking to each one of you individually. I want you to be part of the discussion. I don't want to have to force people and say, you know, you have to post a reply to whatever the thread is, and you have to reply to 3 other people. I don't want to have to do that, because when I do that, people just go through the motions and they reply to somebody and say, hey, that's a really good idea, I agree with you. And nobody gains out of that, all right? So just from this rant, walk away with the fact that discussion is important in this course, and I expect it from you, okay? As far as communicating with me, you can communicate me through D2L, but if you want a response after hours, like after school, I'm going to be posting contact information on the Meet the Teacher page, which I just remembered today. I haven't updated. My school email, which is mclaughlin@rcdsb.on.ca, which I will write because that was way too fast. That's the best way to keep in contact with me, especially after school, because those emails come in on my phone, whereas D2L, I only check it a couple times a day. Speaking of which, I'm going to be on D2L for about 40 minutes in the morning and another 40 minutes in the afternoon, so I should be able to check more emails that way and stay in contact better that way, so expect to see me on a couple times during the day. Last, because I'm kind of running out of time, I want to keep this video under 15 minutes or else I have to split it. Some basic expectations I have for you. I've already said that I want you to do lessons, not assignments, which means don't jump right to the assignment and try to like get through it. Do the lesson, learn something, and then execute really well in the assignments. I want your best quality of work on everything that you submit to me in writing or verbally, because we're going to get to that as well. I want you to participate in the discussions, and also be aware that not all of you did the citation assignment well enough. I'm not a huge stickler on citation style for philosophy, because depending on what course you go, or what school you go to, what university you go to, they may have a preference, your prof will have preference, they may even have an in-house citation style. But I do require that you use like either MLA or APA or another like actual citation style, not just like web addresses, because that's ridiculous. Or you know, something that makes sense. Basically, we'll keep it at that. Your citation style is important. Make sure that you cite sources, and make sure you use sources that are good. Wikipedia is not one of those sources. Heavily biased by the fact that not everybody is going to take time out of their day to post information on Wikipedia, but 49-year-old shut-ins who live with their mom probably do. Especially if those shut-ins are male, because in the history classes that I've taught, when we've done an analysis, what we found is there's a heavy gender bias on in the content of anything historical on Wikipedia that we've come across. Anyways, I've got 40 seconds left pretty much. Again, welcome to the class. Expect to work hard. Stay in contact with me, and make sure you ask me any questions that you've got. I hope that we have some fun along the way too, because one thing that I'm hoping you're going to enjoy by the end of this is thinking. You're going to enjoy thinking, and you're going to enjoy being part of intellectual conversations. Anyways, that's it for my rant. Get to work on the first lesson, and I'll talk to you again later next week.